This Formula One race lasted 4 hours. The Canadian Grand Prix in Montreal has been a constant presence on the Formula One calendar for more than 40 years. It is renowned for delivering close racing and surprise results, but one unusual fact about the circuit is a record race that lasted for more than 4 hours. The 2011 Canadian Grand Prix is so far the longest race in F1 history. The epic GP featured 6 safety cars and a long red flag period that stretched the race for 4 hours. The rain-affected race, won in dramatic fashion by Jenson Button, took 4 hours, 4 minutes and 39.537 seconds to run, including a 2-hour rain delay. Button fought back from a lowly 21st at one point to get past Sebastian Vettel on the final lap. Because of the red flag period, Button completed the race at an average speed of 74.864 km per hour, which is considered the slowest average speed at which a Grand Prix has been won. When you decide to count down the greatest races in recent Formula One history, you're sure to include the chaotic Canadian Grand Prix as a regular fixture in any top 10 list. The race extended for 4 hours, 4 minutes and 39 seconds following a series of unfortunate events. Button, who won the race, called it "my greatest race" in his 2019 book, How to Be an F1 Driver. Welcome. Subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications to stay tuned. The opening 40 laps of the race took 3 hours and 20 minutes to complete and offered just 12 laps of green flag running. Torrential rain in the lead-up to the start meant the race started behind the safety car, which made 2 further appearances before the red flag came out on lap 25, sparking a 2-hour delay. Button had started the race 7th for McLaren, but eventually gained a place when the race went green on lap 5 after Hamilton spun Red Bull's Mark Webber around, sending him to the rear of the field. A mistake from Button at the turn 6 and 7 chicane, which later became the site of his race-winning pass, allowed the Mercedes of Michael Schumacher to get by, and Hamilton regained a position, leaving the McLarens nose to tail as they judged the limits of grip in the damp. Button and Hamilton clashed on lap 7, after Schumacher had forced a gaining Hamilton wide at the hairpin on the previous lap. Hamilton tucked into Button's slipstream as they came across the main straight, following his teammate as he drifted toward the pit wall. Hamilton pulled out to pass, only for an unsighted Button to squeeze him, causing a collision. The incident forced Button to make his first visit to the pits and switch to intermediate tyres at the same time, after limping around the lap with a puncture. It dropped him some 30 seconds behind leader Sebastian Vettel, with that gap then reducing thanks to the safety car called to allow Hamilton's now stopped car to be removed. Button avoided a penalty for the clash but had been caught speeding under yellow flags, resulting in a drive-through. He could not serve this under the safety car, making his earliest opportunity the first lap after the race resumed. He dropped from 12th to 15th as a result, the gap to Vettel returning to 20 seconds. The intermediates briefly looked like the right tyre to be on, allowing him to claw through to 8th before admitting defeat and pitting for a third time on lap 19 to switch back to wets. The safety car was called 1 lap later, leaving Button 10th under the red flag. He utilized the stoppage to find Hamilton and apologize for causing his retirement. However, another incident would quickly follow. After a 4th stop to switch from wets back to intermediates just 1 lap after the race returned to green, Button got caught up in a clash with Fernando Alonso at the first chicane. The penalty dropped Button to last place, over 1 minute and 40 seconds behind Vettel, and the gap was again wiped away by the safety car, called to allow Alonso's Ferrari to be recovered. So from there, the only way was up for Button. As the rain halted and the track started to dry, Button began to pick up position after position. He was aided by some drivers being forced to pit again after gambling on full wets in the hope of more rain arriving. But within 10 laps of the race restarting, he had already clawed his way back to P10. Button was then one of the first drivers to make the switch to slick tyres thanks to the drying line, pitting 2 laps earlier than leader Vettel. The passes he made on Nick Heidfeld and Kamui Kobayashi meant that with 15 laps to go, Button sat an impressive 4th, the gap to Vettel falling from 47 seconds to just 15 thanks to the Red Bull's final stop. Vettel was able to respond to Button's pace, although he was afterwards dealt a blow when the safety car was called following a crash for Heidfeld that left debris strewn across the track. It also left Button 4th on the road, 5th in the train, and after another successful pass, he set his sights on Schumacher and Webber ahead. Webber's mistake with 7 laps to go gave Button a run coming out of the last chicane. The Briton avoided a bold defensive move as the Australian regained control of his car. Button caught the snap and kept his foot down to take third before picking off Schumacher 1 lap later. Button had 5 laps to catch and pass Vettel and was going considerably quicker. Button continued to draw Vettel in as the laps ticked down, noticing a lockup at turn 1 from the Red Bull driver as they started the final lap, down the inside. As Vettel turned in at turn 6, his erstwhile trusty RB7 slithered to the outside of the corner and its rear jutted out. It opened the door for Button to move into the lead with half a lap to go. It capped off a sensational last-to-first hunt for glory from Button, giving the chaotic race the ending it deserved. So, after all of that, could you say luck was the deciding factor in Button's win, or time? If you enjoyed the video, like and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that notifications bell to get notifications.